Uh, all right, let's do it. The cash in for a Monday, start of another week. Look at me, I'm clean shaven, wearing one of the 7 shirts I have to choose from for this show. We are ready to go. We got Monday Night Football to keep tabs on tonight. Don't worry, we'll be doing that. We got your football fix on this show. I think about 75% of the segments are NFL related. So we'll do that as we go through the program. In this hour, we'll get into the Packers win yesterday. And Aaron Rodgers made some comments after the game regarding the way the Packers won this game and how it isn't sustainable. But the headline was buried because it's something else he talked about that should be making news today, and I don't see it anywhere. So we'll get to that coming up in just a little bit. Matt Verderam will join us, national NFL writer at Fansided, one of my favorite guys. And look, I'll give him credit, and I know they didn't win yesterday, but he was all over the Jaguars in the preseason when we had him on the show for our preview show, our NFL preview show right before the Thursday night game that kicked off the season. We had him on, and that dude was spot on. Jacksonville is no joke. They went into Philadelphia, punched the Eagles in the mouth, and they didn't come out on the winning end, but they certainly got the league's attention, I think, at this point. This is not a joke. This is not anything you can sort of poo-poo. The Jaguars could definitely win the AFC South, which would be an amazing story when you consider where that franchise has been. We've got a major announcement coming up at some point during the show. I cannot tell you when. As soon as I have permission, we will have a huge announcement that I'm pumped for. But when we continue, the quandary that was the Ravens yesterday, John Harbaugh, Lamar Jackson, and a team that's just 2-2 after a weird ending to a football game. We'll get to that as we continue. First hour of the Cash In. I'm Jason Page. Good to have you with us on Sports Map Radio. Yeah, chicken went sports talk. No? He just has the Rams on the money line? Rams. Oh, no. So it was a parlay, and he didn't cash out. Got it. Shoot. Can you find me that story and send it to me? Yeah. Good to have you with us. I'm pumped. I'm in a good mood today. We're keeping tabs on Monday Night Football. 49ers 14, the Rams 9. A big 3rd and goal coming up to start the fourth quarter for the 49ers. We've got all your live betting information throughout the show. Right now, it's the Rams at plus 500. The Niners at minus 850. I wouldn't touch it at the moment. I'd wait for the 49ers to score and then see how high that Rams money line bet goes. That would be the only thing worth touching where you're going to find value. But at the same time, the odds of the Rams coming from behind if the 49ers get a touchdown here and make it 21-9 are very slim. The Rams just cannot find the end zone. This 49er defense is suffocating. And if the 49ers get a touchdown here, which gets you to 21-9, you'd be at 30. Right now, the total, I'll tell you what I would take. The total right now is 37.5. I would probably bang the over on the total right now at 37.5 if I was going to touch anything. We went 2-2 in Paige's picks. We'll recap that before this show is done. As I said, we got a big announcement coming up later on in the show. I can't wait to tell you all about it. We'll do that coming up a little later on. We'll get some Aaron Rodgers-related news, some Packers-related items. We'll do that coming up about 10 minutes from now. And Matt Verderam will join us, national NFL writer at Fansided, 27 minutes from now. We will talk to him, one of my favorite NFL guys, and somebody you should follow. He's really terrific when it comes to the NFL. All right, so I've got no problem. As it relates to this Ravens-Bills game, I have no real problem with John Harbaugh passing up the field goal. I say it all the time. If you've got what you perceive to be a star player, a franchise player, put the ball in his hands and let him go win the damn game. How many times do we see it? 3rd and 2 at midfield, a team up by 3, a first down wins the game, and they run the football into the line, they punt it away, the other team comes down, scores a field goal or a touchdown and wins the game. We see it all the time. Teams get conservative. Not give their offense a chance to win the game. And in the case of John Harbaugh yesterday, and look, we can get into the reasons why he made the decision he made, and we'll do that coming up. But he put the ball in his best player's hands and said, go win me the game. But doing it and then saying you were giving yourself the best chance to win is also kind of farcical, because go get the sure points and give your team a chance to win. If they score a touchdown, it's a 73.5% chance percentage to win. If it was, and it was, I believe, about 70% if they go for the field goal. So it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Now put that aside for a second. What gets very interesting here is what happens the next time John Harbaugh is in this situation. Big game that matters. A 4th down and 2 or 4th and goal from the 2. And you've got to decide, am I going to roll the dice with Lamar Jackson here? Or am I going to kick the field goal and just take the lead by 3? Tie game like it was yesterday. What if we get that situation again? Does he play it differently? Because that's going to wind up being a very interesting issue. Because the decision-making from Lamar Jackson on that play yesterday was not very good. He had Devin Duvernay wide open in the end zone. Jackson doesn't see him, then makes an ill-timed throw, interception, you know the rest. Bills drive down the field. close it out with a late field goal. They manage the clock perfectly. I get it. It's a long season. And there will be tons of ups and downs throughout the year. And the Ravens will likely be a playoff team. I know they're 2-2. I know a lot of teams are 2-2 in this year of parity. That's fine. But what I'm most curious to see is how Harbaugh handles this situation if faced with it again down the line this season. Because we know the reality is there really wasn't a better chance to win field goal versus going for the touchdown. It was basically exactly the same. 73% versus 70%. That's not an enormous difference. Win the game with a field goal. Tell your defense to go down there and make a stop. Worst comes to worst, they get a field goal. You play it different. You can play it a little different defensively. I mean, there's a lot of ways this whole thing could have played out yesterday, but the scenario that played out was John Harbaugh put it in the hands of his franchise quarterback who wants, $300 million guaranteed up front, no, poison pills in the contract. He wants it all guaranteed the same way that Deshaun Watson wants it and the way all these other guys are getting it. And then he went out and made a bum throw, a bum decision, a bum play. But I'll say it again when it comes to Lamar Jackson. This will not be the play that defines whether or not he gets the contract he covets in the offseason. It will all come down to the postseason. All that matters is how far he can take this team in the playoffs. One win ain't getting you $300 million. Guaranteed. Every penny. Because if that was the case, the Ravens could have already given that to you this offseason. So they're saying we want a deep run. And, it's all fun when he's running around and making plays with his legs and he can run the football and on the run make these crazy throws and guys make great catches and all of that is great. But when you get into the bottleneck of, the deep end of the field, the deep end of the red zone, when you're down in that part of the field and the field shrinks and it becomes very small, and yeah, he's got the option to beat you with his legs. But teams are smart in this league, and the teams they're going to play in the postseason, they're going to be counting on him trying to win with his legs, and they're going to have the roamers out there watching him to make sure he doesn't beat them with his legs in that spot. It's all great for 3 quarters and 12 minutes of a game. It's all great. But we say this time and time again. And I'm not one of these guys that's advocating you can only win with a pocket passer and all of that. But how many times do I have to sit here and go through the Super Bowl winning quarterbacks? I could sit here and do it right now. How many of them are pocket passers versus how many of them are running the, RPO? He can beat you with his legs. He can beat you with his arm. He can do a little bit of everything. I'd rather you be just great at throwing the football. I'd rather you be the best damn passer on the planet and be a statue rather than he can run, he can throw, he can confuse defenses. I don't know why I'm talking this way. But to me, that's great, and it's fun during the regular season, and it sells jerseys, and it sells tickets, and it's fun to watch. But is it going to win for you in the playoffs? Again, I could go through the list over and over again. Patrick Mahomes has a Super Bowl. Yay. I can give you a whole lot more Tom Brady's, Aaron Rodgers, Steve Young when he won his Super Bowls. Guess what? He wasn't running around anymore. John Elway, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning. Want me to keep going? Brett Favre, Brad Johnson. I can keep going all day. I can bust you up all day. I'm sorry. Fun to watch Kyler Murray? Yeah. Fun to watch Lamar Jackson? Yeah. And look, Josh Allen might be one of those guys that bucks the trend too. Because Josh Allen is both a guy that can run the football and throw it really accurately. And he might be the guy, one of those guys that bucks the trend. But that doesn't make it the rule. You can't let the exception suddenly become the rule in your mind. And again, these guys are fun to watch, and teams think they can win Super Bowls with them. And then time and time again, we see teams not win Super Bowls with these guys. What do you think? 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. Again, I don't have a problem with Harbaugh passing up the field goal. Lamar Jackson's got to make better decisions there. 1-800-224-2004. You can tweet at the show as well. At the back page. Again, hit me up on Twitter. At the back page. We'll get your thoughts on that. And by the way, important to follow me on Twitter. We do giveaways on Wednesdays. And if you're following me on Twitter and you send me a note and say hello, you're entered to win. It's that simple. How many radio shows in the sports realm are doing that for you? The 49ers get a field goal, rather. They lead the Rams 17-9. Early fourth quarter. Rams still having all sorts of problems moving the football. We'll give you the latest live betting and more. And we'll get into Aaron Rodgers and what should be the big story coming out of a weird win for the Pack against the Patriots. That's next. I'm Jason Page. It's the Cash In on Sports Map Radio. No, he's not. He's a cheater. Wow, this was a $10 bet to win $74K. That is wild. Oh, my God. What an idiot. What an idiot. Ugh. I'll get to this on the back end of this segment. Oh, it's so bad. Oh, it's so bad. Nah, you got to cash that out. Yeah, you can't be greedy, dude. No. Yeah, it's just stupid. You're stupid. They're just not smart. God. Oh, shoot. I gotta do this. Continuing with this Thursday edition of the Cash In, Sports Map Radio, the Sports Map Radio app. Always good to be with you. Coming up in a couple of minutes. Greed kills. Oh, does it kill? It's like the sports betting version of Deal or No Deal. That's the best way I could describe it. We'll get to that coming up in a couple of minutes. Also coming up in about 15 minutes, Matt Verderam, national NFL writer at Fansided. We'll get his thoughts on the weekend that was around the National Football League. 49ers with the football back. It's crazy to say at 17-9 with 12:30 left in the fourth quarter that a game is over, especially when Jimmy Garoppolo is the quarterback for the team that's leading 17-9, because he's capable of throwing a pick six out of nowhere that just leaves you scratching your head. But it'd be hard to convince me that the Rams come from behind and win this game right now. The total is now 35.5 as far as the FanDuel Sportsbook is concerned. So we'll get to that coming up in a couple minutes. What a wild game yesterday in Lambeau Field in Green Bay, where the Packers beat the Patriots in overtime in a game where the Patriots had to put in their third-string quarterback, a kid named Bailey Zapp, who, if he was standing in my living room right now, I wouldn't know who he is. But Bailey Zapp, he was the quarterback yesterday when it was all said and done, and he almost led the Patriots to one of the most improbable wins in the entire Bill Belichick era. Brian Hoyer was injured. Zapp came in and did a hell of a job. As a matter of fact, two teams yesterday had to play their third-string quarterbacks. Yeah, the Giants had to do it after Daniel Jones got hurt. Then Tyrod Taylor got hurt. Saquon Barkley played quarterback for a couple of plays before Daniel Jones came back into the game. And even with all that said, the Giants won, and they're 3-1. But we'll get to them later. So the Packers win yesterday. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't great offensively yet again. And Aaron Rodgers, after the game, made some headlines when he said, look, this is not sustainable. We cannot continue to win football games this way. And Aaron Rodgers is right. They're putting a lot of pressure on their defense. Yes, you heard me right. Aaron Rodgers is right. They put a lot of pressure on their defense continually. They're just not getting enough done offensively. But when it mattered most yesterday in overtime, he was able to drive his team down the field for a game-winning field goal. He was 21 of 35 for 251 yards, a couple touchdowns, and an interception. And Green Bay ran it well, but they're just not doing enough to score. And Rodgers has every reason to be concerned. I still think when push comes to shove, this team will be okay offensively. I think they're one of the teams that as we progress and get through the season is going to get better. I don't know if I could say the same for Tampa Bay right now, which we'll get to a little later on. But for Green Bay, I still am not that worried. And the reality is, even with this sluggish start to the season, they're 3-1. But it wasn't what Rodgers said about the offense not being sustainable that caught my attention. What got my attention was something that I've heard almost nobody cover when it comes to Aaron Rodgers. And we watched the embrace between him and Bill Belichick after the game, which for Bill Belichick, that was like a marathon embrace. He never hugs anybody for that long. And there was a lot of talk leading into this game that it could be the last time we see an Aaron Rodgers-Bill Belichick matchup. But coming out of the game and that long conversation, in his post-game press conference, Aaron Rodgers said something that was, to me, some real insight into where his head is right now. Now, could guys change their mind? God, we've just seen what happened with Tom Brady over the last couple of years. We've seen Rob Gronkowski retire and unretire. We've seen so many guys retire and unretire. And some guys that never retire, and then we just have to assume they're retired. But Aaron Rodgers said, and this is a quote from him after the game, this probably was the last time he'll face Belichick. I mean, that tells us something. Either he knows that Belichick is retiring, or this is going to be the last year for Aaron Rodgers. And I think it's probably the latter more than it is the former. I mean, and that has to get you to start, kind of scrambling if you're the Packers. And I'm sure they're in this frame of mind anyway because Rodgers is taking it 1 year at a time. Forget the contract that he signed in the offseason. He is on a 1 year at a time deal. So I think a lot of people just assume that. But at least at the end of week 4 of the NFL regular season, the indication from Aaron Rodgers is this is it. Because I don't think Bill Belichick is telling Aaron Rodgers that this is going to be his last season. So to me, it would indicate this is likely the last ride for Aaron Rodgers. And I'm curious how fans in Green Bay even process that. Because to me, it feels like, and look, I don't know if any organization is ever ready for life after ... Were the Patriots ready for life after Tom Brady? Maybe. And they had the one transition year with Cam Newton, and then all of a sudden Mac Jones was there, and I think they feel like he's the future of that franchise at the quarterback position, although you never know how these things turn out. And, there's been time and time again in the history of football where we see teams lose. I mean, look what the Pittsburgh Steelers went through early in this season with Ben Roethlisberger gone and Mitchell Trubisky at quarterback. Now it's Kenny Pickett, and Pickett showed some nice signs, but who knows how long it takes to find that next quarterback. I mean, after Eli Manning, the Giants sort of went through this thing with Daniel Jones. And they're trying to figure out who their next, what is the future of that team at that position. And this goes on throughout organizations, but I wonder if the Packers are prepared for life after Rodgers. Is it Jordan Love? I mean, who is it? Because after Rodgers, look, this organization was extremely fortunate. They went from Brett Favre, who think what you want of him personally and whatever's going on in his life now, all-world quarterback, Super Bowl winner, to Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that's an embarrassment of riches for an organization to go from that for 15 years to go to Aaron Rodgers for the number of years that he's led that organization. I mean, as a sports fan, you got to pinch yourself. As a Packers fan, you'd have to pinch yourself. I mean, you really do have to take some stock in the fact that you've been able to go from one great to another in such a way. But what is life for the Packers after Aaron Rodgers? I don't even know if they know. It could be a period of darkness for that franchise. And that's okay. It happens. These things are cyclical. I'd be curious to know what Packer fans think. 800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. You can hit me up on Twitter at The Back Page. Did that comment from Rodgers yesterday indicate to you that he thinks it's this is the last ride? 800-224-2004. The Monday night game, 17-9 Rams with the football right now. We'll keep you posted as it relates to that. There is one curious person watching this game who we don't know. Credit to producer John Belmer pushing the buttons in Houston tonight for sending me this item. There is a man who placed a $10 wager on a massive parlay. I don't know how many teams it was because I don't even know if they're all listed here, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 6 bets in this parlay. Right? At least 6 bets were in this parlay. And the last one he needs to hit is the Rams. And if he hits it, it's $74,702 on a $10 wager. Now, here's the kicker. He had a chance to cash out the bet before the game for $23,099, and he turned it down. You got to hedge. You got to know when to hedge. He could have won an easy 23 grand. And instead, he's going for the big bucks. It's like deal or no deal, and he may get a really bad deal. Matt Verderam, fan-sided on the NFL, joins us next on The Cash In. Stay with us. All right. I got to get the interview set on my end. No, live. Just give me a second to get my stuff together. Did he? Oh, that dude is just crying in his beer. Oh, man. That's so bad. It's so bad. You just can't do it. It's so bad. I'd like to feel bad for the guy, but I just can't. You get greedy. Well, I mean, he's dumb. All right, let me get Verderam on. We were talking in the last segment about this guy that had this massive parlay and decided to let it ride. He could have cashed out for $23,100 basically. And he decided to let it ride with the Rams tonight. And if he won, it would have been like 73 grand or something, some crazy number that is unfathomable to the average everyday guy who's just sort of doing his thing and living his life. And if you just looked at the score, the Rams are falling apart in Santa Clara tonight against the 49ers. And this dude's going to watch his potential 70K winning bet just go up in flames. He would have won 74,700 if the Rams had won. He could have cashed out earlier in the day before the game for 23,100. This was a $10 wager. $10 wager on the FanDuel app. Man, you can't call it a bad beat because the only thing bad about it is the Rams are getting beaten badly, but it's not a bad beat. You had every chance to get out. Matt Stafford just threw a pick six, and it looks like it's all over for the Rams minus some crazy miracle. All right, let's bring in Matt Verderame. Does a terrific job for Fansided, and one of my favorite guys to talk about the NFL with. Joins us here on the Cash In on Sports Map Radio. Let's see now, if you had made that, you're a smart guy, Verderame. If you had made that wager and you had gotten to this, I guarantee you would have cashed out the 23,100.
Yes, I would have, because the Rams are a tire fire every time they play the 49ers, except apparently in the NFC Championship game. So that said, you call me smart. I picked the Rams in my picks because I went back and forth a million times. I know. I went back and forth a million times. I picked the Niners, and then I said, you know what? Garoppolo's terrible. I can't do it. I'm going to ride with the better quarterback. And the first quarter of the game was over, I knew I had made a mistake. So, this is the way it goes. But at least I'm not going to lose $23,000 on it.
No, could you imagine? Oh my God! How do you not cash that bet out and just take the $23,000 for a $10 wager? I think it's almost setting up, not to go too far afield here, but you were just saying in your pick. So I assume you have to pick every game, like Fansided tells you got to pick every game or something like that?
Yeah, I don't even know if they tell me to do it. I've just been doing it for years on end.
All right, but I feel like we're all set up to fail. Because if we're learning anything by now, especially about this particular season, but the NFL in general, it's impossible. I mean, it's just nuts trying to pick this league with the weekly ups and downs of it. And I don't know, maybe it'll settle down by by week 8 or week 9, and the cream will rise to the top, like it usually seems to. But there's a lot of perplexing things going on right now. I'm going to get into it in the next hour. I mean, who had the Giants, Eagles, and Cowboys with a combined 2 losses through the first 4 weeks of the season? Put your hand down, you're a liar. Nobody did. I mean, it's crazy to try and predict this league.
Especially considering that the Cowboys don't even have their quarterback. I mean, they don't have their quarterback. The Giants have a quarterback in name only. And the Eagles are 4-0. Look, I mean, right now, when you look at the NFL, who are the teams that you're like, that team is definitely really, really good? Like, I count 3 of them.
All right,
the Eagles, the Chiefs, and the Bills.
Yeah,
that's it.
I'm with you. Yeah.
I mean, I think Tampa will get there, I think.
Really?
I think, yeah, because, look, it's Brady, and defensively, even though they got absolutely plastered on Sunday night, I think they're very good. I think they just ran to the wrong team at the wrong time that week. But I think they'll be there. I think the Packers will figure it out to an extent. The receivers make me nervous, but I think they'll figure that out. But again, like the only teams, and I got to be honest, I'm throwing Philly in the mix. Philly's been very impressive. I love their offseason. I wrote about it in July. But, am I ultra confident that Jalen Hurts in a playoff game is beating Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. The Chiefs and the Bills, to me, are the only 2 teams right now that, even of those 3 that I mentioned, that I'm like, those 2, I know those 2 teams are going deep, deep, deep in the playoffs, and probably till they see each other. And then that's it.
But you know something? While I'll say those 3 teams sort of separate themselves from the rest of the pack right now, if you ask me, is any team inevitable? No. I don't think anybody's inevitable.
I agree. I agree with. I mean, look, the Chiefs just lost to the Colts in a game that defied all logic. The Bills outgained the Dolphins by 300 yards and lost to them. So, I think as time goes on this year, what will happen is what usually happens. These teams with the best quarterbacks will just pull away because they're more consistent. And when you have the great quarterback, you can have a game where you don't play particularly well, but you win anyway because that guy just wins you the football game. I think that'll be the separator. But when you look around the league, how many of those guys really exist right now? I mean, look, I think the quarterback plays the best it's ever been in the NFL, partially because of rules and whatnot. But look, when you look at the NFC, okay, you've got Rodgers, you've got Brady. Who else is a great quarterback in the NFC? I mean, Hurts maybe will become one. We'll see. Who else is there? Like Stafford? I don't think he's great. I think he's good. Kyler Murray? I don't think that's an answer, right? So, and then you get to the AFC, and everybody was going crazy this offseason about Denver. Denver stinks. Denver, I'll put a pin in that right now and just call it a day.
I love this. This is the best version of Matt Verderam I have seen yet on this show.
They're terrible. They're a terrible team. They can't coach, and they marry that with not being able to move the ball for a foot. So, you look at these teams like Matt Ryan was supposed to help out the Colts. Matt Ryan is playing like he bet the money line on the other team every week. So who do you got? Like Lamar's been great, but he's like if they don't get everything from him on every play, they can't win. So I that's why I think the Chiefs and the Bills ultimately are the two teams I'm looking at. Again, along with Philly, that I just think they're the best teams in the league right now.
Biggest opportunity for growth that could become one of those teams. Do you see somebody that's pretty good now, but by the time we get to the end of the year, because look, you know this as well as I do, it's not how you're playing now. You can tread water and be okay now, get in as a wild card team and make a run. You don't have to be a division winner. Is there a team you look at that's sort of treading water now, slowly building, that could be really dangerous come the postseason? Or is it just too far away to say?
I'll give you one in each conference. I think Green Bay can certainly be that team. Now, Green Bay's had their issues in the playoffs, but Rodgers is a two-time reigning MVP for a reason. LaFleur's a very good coach. They've got 1 million first-round picks on defense, 7 to be exact. Quay Walker looks like he's going to be a real player for him as a rookie linebacker. You've got Devondre Campbell, who's not one of those first-round picks, but is an all-pro. I think they're going to be very good. I also think they'll pull away in that division. The Lions can't stop anybody. The Bears can't score a point. And the Vikings, I have no faith in week to week. So I think the Vikings might be a playoff team.
Yeah.
But, I mean, can anybody really with a straight face say, you know who I believe in every week? Minnesota. So I think the Packers are going to be fine. I think the Packers will figure it out. They'll get some consistency. Maybe they trade for a receiver. And then the AFC, I think that team's Cincinnati. Everybody's gone so nuts about the Bengals. And look, I get it. Like the first 2 weeks, you lose to Mitchell Trubisky and Cooper Rush. Like there's a reason to be concerned, especially when you can't block anybody. But I think that offensive line will get better as the year goes on. They have a lot of talent. They're defensively better than people think they are. I think Cincinnati is going to be good. I think they'll battle with Baltimore. Baltimore's not going anywhere either. Those teams will battle in the North. But I think the Bengals and the Packers come January are going to be teams that I don't think you're not going to have a bunch of opponents lining up to face them.
They turned it over a zillion times. I think they had 5 turnovers in the loss yesterday to Philadelphia. But what did you come away with on Jacksonville out of the loss yesterday? Because I know you were high on them before the season started.
I was, and I am. Look, I still think they're going to win that division. That division is
I agree.
Basically that division is essentially if the WAC joined the NFL. So Houston doesn't have a win. Indianapolis shouldn't have the win. The Chiefs were nice enough to donate that game. And then Tennessee's decent. Like Tennessee is the kind of team that if you catch them on the wrong day, you can lose to them, and you could be the worst team in the league. And if you catch them on the right day, you can beat them by 2 touchdowns. So I think Tennessee's going to end up right around 500. And I think Jacksonville's probably like a 9-win team. Yeah, maybe 8 to 9 wins. I think they're going to be right there with Tennessee. Probably going to come down to who wins those head-to-head matchups. But you know what? If you're Jacksonville, yes, you're up 14-0. It's really disappointing to lose a game. On the flip side of it, if I'm Doug Peterson, my message to them is, look, you just played the only undefeated team in the league. You went on the road. It was bad weather. You turned the ball over 5 times, and you lost by 1 score. Now, granted, you got to pick 6 in there, too. So, some of that evens out a little bit. But I would just be like, look, if we play good football, we're going to win games. You go home, you get Houston. They should pound Houston. get back up over 500. And if you're Jacksonville, the one advantage you've got is that division. Houston twice still to play. Indianapolis still have to play again. I know it's on the road, but I don't think that's a huge impediment. And then you play Tennessee twice, and you have a last place schedule. So you're playing all these last place teams. Like if I'm Jacksonville, I'm thinking to myself, like, all right, look, you're not winning 12, 13 games. I don't think anybody expects that. Because that team win 9 games? Yeah, they could win 9 games. So, but I think if you're the Jags, it's going to be a process, and they're going to lose some games where it looks ugly and they don't play well, and Lawrence struggles. That's part of it. But I think they are clearly on the uptick in a division that I don't think you can make an argument that anybody else is.
Kenny Pickett got an opportunity yesterday. Obviously, you saw Mike Tomlin finally pull the plug on the Mitchell Trubisky short-lived era in Pittsburgh. The Jets figure out a way to win that game. Give me an argument on anything you saw from Pickett that makes you believe that he's got a shot where Trubisky didn't.
Well, look, you can't judge it off of one half of football. I know people say, well, I threw 3 picks. One of them's a Hail Mary, but still, 2 picks and a half is terrible. That being said, I do not think you're going to see a ton from him this year in a positive way, not because of him, but because they can't block anybody. And who's he throwing to? I like Freiermuth as a tight end. I like Deontay Johnson. But you can't really utilize those guys because they can't block. Claypool has regressed significantly since his rookie season. I think Pickett, the case for Pickett as a good quarterback in the league is going to be that, hey, he's going to be accurate. He's going to be smart. He's occasionally going to stretch the field. He's got a little bit of mobility to him. Not that he's going to make anybody think of Lamar Jackson, but he can move a little bit. I personally did not think he was a first-round quarterback. Now, that doesn't mean I don't think he's got talent. I thought he was more like maybe like a middle of the second-round pick. He's a quarterback, so it is what it is. I just think it's a really tough year. Look, I wrote in my column, Stack the Box, this morning on Fansided, they're going to experience a losing season with Tomlin this year. That's coming. They're 1-3, and their next 4 games are ridiculous. Their next 4 games are something like the Bills, the Buccaneers, the Dolphins, and the Bengals.
Yeah.
They're going to be 1-7. So, look, it's going to be a tough road for them, and I think this whole year now is about trying to find out what you have in Kenny Pickett.
Matt Verderam does a terrific job with Fansided. I could do this all night, man. That was fun. Be well, and we'll talk to you soon. Check out his work at Fansided. Thanks, Matt.
Hey, thanks a lot, Jason. Appreciate it.
Awesome stuff with Matt Verderam on the show. We'll update you on the 49ers and the Rams and wrap up this hour of the Cash In. I'm Jason Page. This is Sports Map Radio. Dude, he was fired up. That's awesome. Oh, that's awesome. I'm just awesome. Oh, I love him. I love that dude. The AFC South is the whack. That's awesome. Could tell he had some stuff to get off his chest. Yeah. I want to know how many bets were on that thing. Because I see 6, but I think there has to be more. Yeah. What? Oh my God. What's wrong with these people? Thanks for Matt Verderam for stopping by. He was in a mood. Tom Belmer and I were just talking about it, our producer back in Houston. We were just talking about it during the break. John, would you say that's about as fired up as we've ever heard Matt Verderam? I want that version of Matt Verderam. I will pay for that version of Matt Verderam every week. Like, he was just great. I just bring that. That's what we want on this show. It's all over but the shouting in Santa Clara. It's going to be another loss for the Rams. They're getting beat 24-9 with about 1:40 to go. All that's left is to run out the clock. Look, you got to be concerned if you're a Rams fan right now. I know they're going to be 2-2, but this team does not look like a team that won a Super Bowl last year. I mean, there is a legitimate, whether you want to call it a hangover, this just does not. If the ball, and I mean, Matt Verderam said it, and I think everybody who's watching the game with a working pair of eyeballs is saying it. If the ball doesn't go to Cooper Kupp, I mean, this team is lost. I know Higbee had a few catches tonight, and that's great, but when they're getting nothing on the ground, and I'm sorry, Matt Stafford cannot be throwing the ball 45 times every week. Can't happen. All right, another hour of the cash-in is right around the corner. We'll have a big announcement coming up an hour from now. How crazy has this season been so far through 4 weeks in the NFL? I'm going to describe it for you. Put it into words. That's next on the Cash-In. I'm Jason Page at Sports Map Radio. All right. Oh, God. Can you do me a favor? Can you pull both of those promos and shoot them to me in an email? Thank you. Oh, dude, they're outstanding. Thank you. That's it. It's all over but the shouting. It's over. Eh, eh, eh. Damn. Saw somebody on wow, I think I have this card. Somebody's selling this Trevor Lawrence card I'm looking at right now for $60. I think I got one. Yeah, it's a rookie. I've got so many of his rookies that I just held on to because, whatever. Guy had a bad first year. And it's not like I'm going to do anything with them after that bad first year. So I just held on to them, and now they're like shooting up in value. Same thing with Jalen Hurts. I held on to some of his stuff. I do some flipping. Like I flipped the Julio Rodriguez card that I got. I had a $300. It was a well, I mean, I don't know if it was a good idea or not, but I couldn't turn away, Yes, indeed. Another hour of the Cash In starts right now. SportsMap Radio. SportsMap Radio app. Our executive producer is Vladimir Lewisant. He's on assignment tonight. Always wanted to say that. John Belmer, our producer in Houston at Master Control. And me. The man they call Paige. Went 2-2 on our NFL picks and Paige's picks. I decided to get a little, I don't know. Maybe I was feeling my oats a little. I thought I had a good read on a college game, and I didn't. So I went 0-1 on my college. 2-3 for the weekend overall, but 2-2 on the NFL. So we're game over 500 on the National Football League so far this year. You know what's funny is I go and look at these people that do picks for a living. And they go through all these metrics and at the end of the day, I'll look at I'll take my season average against their season average. And I'm not saying I'll be better, but I probably won't be worse. There might be a couple that are better than me and I'm better than a couple, but you can go through all the metrics in the world, man. And it's just, this league is so difficult to pick. We talked in the first hour about this guy that had this ridiculous $10 parlay. $10 parlay If he had won, it would have paid off $74,702.67. Hey, every penny counts. So I mentioned it all. And we were asking the question before, how many legs were there in this parlay? There were 15. He had to go 15 of 15. He won the first 14. And then he had the opportunity to cash out. He was 14 of 15. The only game left was the Rams. He had the Rams on the money line plus 104. And if he hit it, it would have paid $74,702. But he could have cashed out for $23,100. He let it ride with the Rams. And now he's probably getting ready to throw himself off the fake Eiffel Tower in Vegas somewhere. And and that might actually be real. Can't be greedy, man. We're back with the craziness of the NFL. I'll explain next on the Cash In Sports Map Radio. Yeah, I've set it up. Rolling along. Monday night. Monday Night Football's over. 24-9 to the 49ers. And I can't say I'm all that surprised. I mean, look, and we could talk about how bad the Rams are from an offensive standpoint. The 49ers are really good defensively. And as much as I'll bang on Jimmy Garoppolo, and I banged on him last week, and I talked about this is the reason they wanted to move on from him, I I can't say that I would be shocked. I cannot say that I would be shocked. And I didn't have enough time to get into it with Matt Verderame. I mean, if Jimmy Garoppolo can avoid a couple of mistakes, that team's good enough to win a Super Bowl. They are good enough they have something that none of the other big contenders have. And that is an all-world defense. I mean, if the 49ers score 20, if Jimmy Garoppolo and that team hangs 21 on you, the chances of you winning are so slim because you're not going to score against them. You're just not. And that, to me, is what sort of separates them from the rest of the pack in this league. I mean, we're 4 games in right now. The 49ers have given up 46 points through 4 games. I want you to kind of marinate in that for a second. The next best is 58, and that's Buffalo. Would you be shocked at all if you had a Buffalo 49ers Super Bowl? I wouldn't. Because there's not a lot of defensive juggernauts that can score enough. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not 100% convinced this Dallas defense thing is for real. It has been through the first 4 games. They've only given up 62 points. And I just don't know if they can score enough. I think the 49ers are a little bit, and I mean marginally better. But I mean, would you pick against the 49ers in the postseason if I told you Jimmy Garoppolo's going to make minimal number of mistakes? Are you picking against the 49ers? They've given up an average of less than 12 points a game. I mean, that's crazy good. Everybody in that division, by the way, is 2-2. The entire NFC West is 2-2. It is the only such division in the NFL. And that's where I want to get into here. You know, it's fascinating, and we like to have fun before the season starts, and we'll all make our preseason predictions, and I'm going to tell you who wins this division, and Vlad and I have fun, and every talk show in America has fun, and we all want to pretend we know what's going to happen, and we want you to listen to us because we know the NFL, and the reality is none of us know. Yeah, there might be some general prevailing thoughts that all of us share that are correct. Yeah, we know Patrick Mahomes is really good. And then Aaron Rodgers is still a really good quarterback. And Josh Allen's great. And Buffalo's going to be a force to be reckoned with. And Kansas City's good. Other than that, anything else we say, I hate to say it because it sort of demeans what we do as sports radio hosts. It's the league that none of us can predict. Let me run through, 8 or 9 things right now. Who had the Giants 3-1? Put your hand down, you're a liar. Who had the Eagles undefeated through 4 games? Even if you thought the Eagles were good, you were going to have them as the only unbeaten? Who had the NFC East as the powerhouse division it is? Like I said before, other than Washington, which we knew was going to be a dumpster fire, we all got that right, yay. Other than the Commanders, you've got 3 teams in that division with a combined 2 losses. There's just no way. Who would have, it was the Eagles as the best of the worst. Who would have thought the Packers and Buccaneers combined could be this bad offensively through 4 weeks? And stop it with what Tampa Bay did last night. The Chiefs are playing to the scoreboard in that game. That game was not anywhere near as close as the 41-31 final would tell you. Watch the game. It wasn't. Who had the Raiders getting their first win in week 4? Who had the Falcons 2-2? There were people that thought the Falcons could be historically bad this year. The Falcons are 2-2 and have been in every single game through the first 4 weeks of the season. Nobody had that. Not only that, they're one of the highest scoring teams in the league. I mean, there's only I want to say 8 teams that have scored over 100 points in the league. The Atlanta Falcons are one of them. So they've been entertaining, way more entertaining than fans in Atlanta were probably expecting. I can keep going. And I will. Who had the Saints 1-3? That was some people's Super Bowl pick. They're 1-3. Jameis is banged up. Andy Dalton is playing games for them. And he can still, he's pedestrian. He'll get you around and be able to move the football. And they almost pulled out that game against the Vikings, but the Saints are 1-3. Last one. Who could predict that Andy Dalton, Teddy Bridgewater, Cooper Rush, Brian Hoyer, Bailey Zapp, Jimmy Garoppolo, Tyrod Taylor, and Kenny Pickett would all be getting meaningful time at the QB position? Put that in a parlay and smoke it. I mean, come on. You can't predict. Look, this is, and again, maybe this is one of the things that really does separate the NFL from everything else. And maybe it's why we do love it so much and why it dominates our shows during the season that it takes place. It's not because those other sports are so bad. It's not because the NBA just suddenly becomes good after Christmas. It's not because, hockey is an unappealing sport or that the baseball postseason isn't fun. It isn't any of those things. It's that to a degree, all of those sports have an element of inevitability to the teams involved. There isn't a scenario where the Oklahoma City Thunder are good this year. There is not a scenario where through the first quarter of the season, the Thunder are 2-2, despite the fact that we all think they're going to be the worst team in the NBA. There is no scenario where that exists. Atlanta, 2-2 at the quarter pole of the season? Who had that? Nobody will think that of the Thunder. And again, you can go through the NBA, and I could do a preview right now without seeing the preseason and give you, and probably be correct on who, 7 of the top teams will be in each conference, and I'll be right at the end of the year. And I'll probably be even close if I start talking about the seeding and where they're going to wind up. Because there is a level of predictability. And don't get me wrong, the games are still fun to watch. You get these great primetime matchups during the week, and it's all fun, and I'll watch them. I'm a huge NBA fan. Planning to go see a game in Phoenix in a few weeks when I go down there for a bowling tournament. I love the NBA. But there's a level of inevitability to it all. NHL can be a little less predictable at times. Who thought several years ago in their, first year in the league that the Las Vegas Golden Knights were going to do what they did? But still, to a degree, you know who the top teams in the league are. The rosters stack up a certain way. The NFL just has this lack of predictability that I think from a week-to-week basis makes it incredibly compelling to watch and listen to and talk about. It's what makes it stand out. Of the 4 major sports, it definitely has an appeal to it that does not exist elsewhere. You got a thought? 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. You can tweet at the show if you want to. I'm at the back page, again on Twitter, at the back page. Still to come in this hour, an update on the Tua Tagovailoa story. The first shoe is dropped, and if you listened to me last week, you would have known this would be the first shoe to drop because it's the easiest one to predict. And if you didn't see this coming, then you really aren't paying attention. We'll get to that. But coming up in a couple of minutes, something that'll put a smile on my face. The disaster that is the New York Mets summed up in one tweet, and you know whose tweet it was? Mine. That's next. 1-800-224-2004. I'm Jason Page. Glad to have you with us on the Cash In at Sports Map Radio. Enjoying your evening. Sports Map Radio, the Sports Map Radio app. I am Jason Page. Our executive producer, Vladimir Louisant, was on assignment for the first half of the evening. He'll be with us for the second half of the show. It's a great night if you're everybody except the dude who had the 15-leg parlay and didn't cash out when he had a chance to after the first 14 legs of the parlay. It's a great night for everybody but that dude. Taylor Denny, I believe is his name. He had 15-leg parlay for $10, payout $74,702. Could have cashed it out for $23,000, and he didn't. And now he's probably crying in his beer at Circa or wherever he was. I mean, producer John's been like tracking his every movement tonight, so John knows. John, has he posted anything since it all hit the fan for him? Somebody better check. Somebody better do a wellness check on that dude.
What was his final bet?
It was the Rams money line.
Why did he take the Rams?
Oh, I mean, look, he had 14 bets right. I can't kill the guy.
But, bro, the Rams have lost 6 in a row.
Matt Verderam took the Rams. Matt Verderam took the Rams, and he's killing himself for it right now. He was on earlier yelling about how he took the Rams.
Bro.
But could you imagine having the first 14 legs?
14, right? He could have walked out.
He had the first 14 parts right, and FanDuel offered him the payout, $23,099.63. He went for the 74 grand.
Oh.
You know what? Let me tell you what it reminds me of before I get to the dumpster fire that's the Mets here. You know what it reminds me of? It really does. It's literally the real life Deal or No Deal. You know, you get all the briefcases lined up, and as you pick through briefcases, and big numbers are still remaining, they offer you something after every few briefcases, and you can get the payout and walk. But if you pick the wrong briefcase, the offer goes down. This dude said, "I'm just gonna keep picking briefcases," and if he had just cashed in with one briefcase, it's like there were 2 briefcases left. One was $0 and the other was $74,702. He picked the wrong briefcase, and now it's checkout time at the hotel. Bye. Actually, it was 3 briefcases, we'll say. One for $74,000, one for $23,000, and one for nothing. He picked the wrong one. It's bad. I got to be honest. I've had big losses in my life. I had a night where I lost 25 grand in one night. I've had these things happen, so I get it, and I know it's the worst feeling in the world. But I could always look back on them in retrospect and say there's always a time to get up. In every gamble, if you're at the casino, we just talked about this a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about my craps horror story at MGM Grand. Or Excalibur, wherever we were staying for one of the events we went to out there. In every gambler's existence, there are moments where you have an opportunity to walk while you're up. And the difference between the professional gamblers that make money and the professional gamblers that are at the pawn shop the next morning is the ability to know when to walk away. I don't care if it's poker, where it's a game of skill, but still has an element of gambling to it. I don't care if it's craps, which is a complete gamble, no matter what system you may have, and trust me, I've played them all. Whether it's blackjack, I just got 2 hot shoes, I'm going to stick around for the third, bye-bye money. Or whether it's a 15-leg parlay where you hit the first 14 bets and you got a payout sitting in front of you for $23,099.63 and you don't take it. It's terrible. We've all been there, Vlad.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
It's all about greed. Greed is good sometimes.
Yeah.
But I would have copped out.
Would you?
Yeah, F that, bro. I won 14.
I mean, have you cashed out parlays early before, though?
No, but I've never had that type of.
Oh, okay. You didn't have that. Okay, all right. Yeah, because there's only a few different sites that offer that sort of thing. Yeah,
if I had that type, I would have gone out.
We have a huge announcement coming up in about 30 minutes on the show. I promise. Pretty cool announcement. 30 minutes from now, you will want to be listening to the Cash In. As we make this announcement. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not allowed to say anything more. I'll get flogged repeatedly if I say it. I'll get to Tua coming up in about 10 minutes, the latest development in that story. But I'm going to sum up the dumpster fire that is the Mets for you. I'm going to sum it up in one tweet, and you might think it's the obvious, the fact that they got swept this weekend in Atlanta by the Braves, when all they had to do was win one game to avoid a situation where if they finish in a tie at the end of the season with the Braves, they would still win the season series and thus wind up winning the division because there are no 163rd games anymore. But here's what best sums up the Mets. You ready? Here it is. And I tweeted this out last night, so I'm reading directly from my own tweet. I don't think I've ever done that before. $77 million of the Mets' $260 million payroll this year, roughly 30%, is spent on two guys that play once every 5 days. And in the case of Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer, even less than that with injuries. How much of that could have been used to bring in a quality bat that could make a difference? I'll just sit here and wait. Because Met fans are going to be... somebody has to ask that question when it comes to the Mets. And this isn't a second guess because of how they pitched in over this weekend. I said this in May, that it is idiotic to me that you are spending 30% of your payroll on two guys that play a combined 50 games this year. To me, that's insanity. That you're putting it all on those guys. Because the Mets don't have the bats. I am sorry. I don't care how many wins they have this year. The Mets do not have the bats to win in the playoffs. They might get through the wild card series. Heck, they might even beat the Dodgers if they get to them in the next round because of those two pitchers. But at some point, you have to be able to hit the ball. You know how baseball is judged? One team scores more runs than the other team. And you can't throw deGrom and Scherzer every game. And you can't throw Edwin Diaz for more than one inning, and you have to be winning when he does in the ninth. Otherwise, all the Timmy Trumpet in the world doesn't mean a damn thing. It just blows my mind. 30% of your payroll is on these two guys. And guess what? They both wet the bed this weekend.
April champs. That's what I love to call Met fans. April champs.
This year they were even August champs, though.
Whatever, man.
But they were. Can I tell you how many people on my Facebook, I've got Met fans because I'm from back east. I live in Palm Springs now, but I'm from back east. And I got all these Met fans chirping, oh, we have a better record than the Yankees. Oh, we're going to win our division. The Yankees are going to choke it away. We're so good.
Oh yeah, in the summer they were loving it. When we were slumping.
They were midseason classic champions, man.
I'm like, yeah, we're slumping, but while you're winning, don't you see somebody's creeping up, being right up beside you, like objects, but objects.
You're gonna spit this out. You'll get it out.
No. I'm saying objects are closer than they appear. Like literally, like they're talking all this crap about us, and I'm like, yo, the Braves are like right behind you. And now surpassed you. And I was there today at Lone Depot Stadium. And they had the champagne on ice. And the Marlins are doing a good job playing spoiler.
They've done it before, too. They did it to the Mets. What was it, maybe 10 years ago? Remember when they went into Citi Field? Was it City or was it still Shea? I don't remember. But it was late in the season, and they went and denied the Mets a trip to the postseason by beating them on the last day of the season. God, I wish I could remember what year it was.
It doesn't, listen, like you said, with the new rules now, it doesn't really matter. There's no 163rd. Both teams are already in the postseason.
Yes.
They both clinch wild card spots.
Yes.
But with what you're saying about the pitching staff, if you're still a Met, I'll give them this. I'll shoot them this one bail. If they are in the wild card series, it will be at Citi Field. And
yes.
They do have deGrom and Scherzer pitching.
Yep,
and
they
all
do.
They got to do is win.
Yep.
So
they do. 800-224-2004, 1-800-224-2004. You can hit me up on Twitter at The Back Page. We'll come back with an update. Not a shocking one on the Tua front. I'm Jason Page. It's the Cash In on Sports Map Radio. How about that? Hitting posts. No double doink here. Good to have you with us. Wherever you're listening, however you're consuming this cornucopia of cool called The Cash In. We're with you Monday through Friday, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern. There's also a podcast of the show that's available pretty soon after the show ends. Hey, John, how fast does our producer in Houston, John Belmer, how quick does the podcast actually become available for people after the show? I'm putting you on the spot. Wow, that's fast. I ain't messing around. We take the best of the show. We don't. Some people just like to rebroadcast the whole 3 hours. We don't, because we talk about so much live game action. I tend to not do that, so we just put up the best of the show as we determine it to be, of course. So, anyways, we can get into everything in the podcast. Check it out every night. So basically, as soon as the show ends, Tuesday through Saturday, since we're on Monday through Friday, and the show ends technically, well, you get it. So, starting next hour, some thoughts on the Cowboys and their quarterback dilemma. And look, people could try and dance around this all we want. I wish I had time to get into it with Matt Verderame tonight, who was just fire. I would have gotten into it with him because I don't know how you go back. I don't know how you, and look, maybe it's easier, and I'll get it. You know what? I'll save it. Keeping my powder dry. I know. I'm not going to scoop myself. I got it. I'm not going to lie, man. I am as fired up as Matt Verderame tonight. I'm just,
hey, man.
Mondays after an NFL weekend, I am loaded for bear. I just got a lot to say.
Here's the thing, though.
Don't do it.
No.
Okay.
Right. Then this is just in general.
Yeah.
If your backup plays well, but your starter is making a crazy amount of money, you got to play your starter.
And that's what makes the NFL the NFL. But we've seen situations where that isn't the case. I mean, Tony Romo.
Right, but there's a difference.
Alex Smith.
Okay, no. But you see what you're talking about was drafted future franchise quarterbacks. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're not talking about a guy who's in the system, who's been in the system for a while. That's the reason why the team that we saw on Monday night, see how I, just steer the conversation in a different way so that you don't have to.
You're a professional. We get it.
See what happened with San Francisco? Yeah. San Francisco had this similar situation. I mean, a similar situation, but the reason why it's different in the examples that you presented was because they were drafted quarterbacks. These guys were supposed to be the future. What's going on over there in Big D is totally different.
No, it is different. Now I'll explain next hour why I would play. I'll explain what I would do if I were the Cowboys coming up to start the next hour. Yeah.
What if Teddy Two Gloves does a good job in Miami?
Why do you think Tua's faking not having a concussion?
But there's a difference though. Tua's not paid. This is Tua's third season.
He's not paid, but he knows he's probably not getting paid if he doesn't finish this season.
I don't know if Tua gets paid now with his just the fact
that
he's
one hit away from becoming a vegetable. Yeah.
Not only that, but a lot of people want to compare him with Drew Brees, but similarly, look what what happened when the Chargers were in San Diego. They were going to pay Drew Brees, but they were very hesitant, and they drafted a quarterback because of that. And then what happened? He got hurt, and then he had to look for another place, and luckily enough, he got down with Sean Payton, in New Orleans, and the rest is history. But those type of things can happen.
Yeah, we'll get into it in the next hour. So the shoe that dropped this week, if you listened to me last weekend, if you listened to me late last week, I called this almost to the T. I said, who's going to be the fall guy? We're not hearing anything about the neurologist. I said it. That's who was going to take the fall. But this is just the first of many shoes to drop in this story. This is just the beginning. We're way closer to the beginning than we are the end of this story. The doctor involved in clearing Tua Tagovailoa for the Dolphins game against the Bills on the 25th of September has been fired. ESPN and NFL Network first reported it. Players Association fired the doctor, who's, by the way, I still haven't seen this doctor's name. I don't know on what planet we live that we can't get this doctor's name, how he just gets to go as doctor and nothing else, which is kind of crazy to me. But anyway, the unaffiliated neurotrauma consultant was let go after they were found to have made several mistakes in their evaluation of Tagovailoa. On Monday, a league source confirmed to People that the NFLPA exercised its right to fire the doctor. Yahoo reporting that the Dolphins, they did a long piece on the story, we'll just say. And you saw Tua start Thursday night against the Bengals. We saw what happened when he was sacked, hit his head on the ground, fingers frozen in place. It was just awful. Clear sign. And look, here it is right here. Dr. Ann McKee, neuropathologist at Director of Boston University CTE Center, tells People it's a clear sign of a brain injury with brain stem dysfunction. And look, I've seen a number of people say it. We may not see Tua again this year. I wouldn't be shocked. You still got the NFL and the Players Association that are looking into this whole thing. They're talking about changing the rules on head trauma. And then after we see that, here's what's most mind-boggling. After that story, after everything we've talked about over the last week, what happened? Did you see the Cameron Brate play on Sunday night? I mean, he, again, coming off the field, was anybody watching TV saying, oh yeah, he's got to have a concussion? Didn't we all see the same thing? Yet people at the stadium, people who are supposed to be watching this, people who are supposed to be buzzing down to check these guys, again, they all missed it? And then in the locker room, he displayed concussion symptoms. No, he displayed concussion symptoms on the field when he walked into the official. I'm sorry. I have no faith in this league to get player safety completely right. And look, if a guy breaks his toe or dislocates a thumb, those sorts of injuries, unfortunately, they're just baked into the cake, right? I get it. And I get to some degree the head trauma stuff is baked into the game. But where it's avoidable, to have the sorts of things that happened last Sunday with Tua, this Sunday with Cameron Brate, I mean, if you can't get those basic things right, why should I have any faith in you as a league? And again, I get it. The media is by and large the only people that care about this. And the Players Association cares and some players care. But the average fan doesn't care if Tua never walks again or if Tua takes one more hit and the lights go out for good. We told you the story of the boxer last week on the show. Got knocked out, 5 days later, he's dead. You think it can't happen in the NFL because it's never happened. That doesn't mean it won't. I'm still saying it. We're not far away. The day's going to come where somebody dies on the field. Or the lights go out in the field and then we find out they're pronounced dead at the hospital. I'm not saying this for hope that it happens. I'm saying it because everything's leading in that direction. And there's nothing, to some degree, there is nothing that can stop it if you've got guys that are as massive as these guys are, as fast as they run, launching themselves towards other human beings. There's just no way that you can convince me that we're not going to see a player die on the football field, because we are. You can do anything you want if you're this league to try and change. The NFL and the NFL players agree that the NFLPA's Mackey White Health and Safety Committee and That's all I hear. That's all I hear. We're going to change protocols. And literally 3 days after Tua gets knocked out on Thursday Night Football, I've got Cameron Brate wobbling off the field, running into an official, but still coming back into the game and not going into concussion protocol until he goes into the locker room in halftime. I'm sorry, I cannot take you seriously as a league. And again, to the average fan watching who's got, somebody other than Tua on his fantasy team, they don't care. They don't care. But one day, we're going to be watching a primetime game somewhere, or a big-time NFL game is going to be on, and somebody's going to die on the field. And I don't know what happens in that moment. I don't know if even that provides the impetus for change that needs to happen in this league. And if you ask me right now, well, what would you change, smart Alec? What's the answer? I don't know. Because the game is inherently dangerous. More than just about any. Hockey's got a little bit of it. We've seen all the guys with concussion issues there. So it's got a degree of danger there too, but not like the NFL. It's just not the same. But this neurologist or this team neurologist or this whatever, because there's still an element to this story that I don't get. The person that ultimately clears Tua to get back on the field isn't that neurologist. It's a team doctor. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that. It's a team doctor that clears Tua to get back on the field. Not the neurologist, not the independent guy. It's a team doctor that has the final say. So there were failures at multiple levels. And I was talking to a good friend of mine, Dr. Ben Wedrow, who's with WebMD, and he's with the Gunderson Clinic in Wisconsin. And he was pointing out to me, a lot of these team doctors, do you know how they get the job? I bet a lot of people don't know this. Go look through the history of team doctors. They pay the team. Team doctors will pay. And a lot of times teams will just go to the highest bidder. Or do a favor for a friend. And you know why? Just follow the money. And some of these guys will just pay to get the gig. So again, you're talking about a situation here where there are so many different ways for this to work in such a way where player safety is compromised. If people are making decisions for the wrong reasons or nefarious reasons, maybe even harmlessly so, some people may not even be qualified to make these determinations. But now we're talking about a kid. Look, they ruled out Tua right away on Monday for this week. You may hear that repeated for several more weeks. And who knows if and when he comes back. Because there's going to have to be a million insurance policies to make sure that the next hit isn't the one that turns out the lights forever on this guy. And I wonder with every day that passes, if even in his own mind he has to be thinking, I've got to at some point, put my future ahead of my present. It's going to be a fascinating story to watch. But when you're talking about human lives at stake and at risk, it's certainly not something to be taken lightly. 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. We'll come back, get you set up for the next hour. A big announcement coming up in about 6 minutes. You'll want to stick around for that. I'm Jason Page. It's the Cash In on Sports Map Radio.
the 3 songs that had freak in it.
Yeah, they said 4. There was 4, and I don't know what they were.
Oh, the Freak Out by Lil Sheik.
What'd you say?
Freak Out.
Yeah, that would have to be one of them, right? I would agree.
I doubt they have Little Vicious Some Girl a Freak.
Freak out. Doodle-doo, freak.
So I know they had to have Missy Get Your Freak On and The Freaks Come Out at Night by Houdini.
Freak out. Doodle-doo, freak. Say shit. Freak out.
All right, calm down. I didn't tell you to go back to Studio 54 and have a disco ball.
Yeah.
No, I didn't
Killed.
tell you that.
I would have killed to have been a fly on the wall in Studio 54 back in the days. That had to be so much fun.
You would not be doing any. You wouldn't be doing nothing.
What do you mean? You trying to say I'm
Bro,
I'm I'm vanilla? I'm a square?
Yeah, come on. Yeah, you would be in Studio 54 doing two, huh? Doing all the crazy drugs. You doing lewds? No.
No.
All right. Then.
I might have some drinks though.
I drink. Man, everybody have drinks. They're putting Quaaludes in your drink, man. They're doing crazy stuff, man. They're doing cocaine off $100 bill. That $100 bill you probably want to take so that you can lay a wager.
Something like that.
Hey, Tony La Russa announced his retirement.
Who did?
Tony La Russa.
Who's the name? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Tony La Russa.
Oh yeah, that's not surprising. That's not surprising at all.
Any word on Bryce Young? Did they say how long he's gonna be out? Or is he?
I have not
going to
heard
be out?
anything on that.
If they play A&M, I know. Hey man, we're on in Texas, right?
What'd you say?
We're gonna have to take. We're gonna be on in Texas, right? We're gonna have to
I
take
mean,
a
we're
shot
already
at
on in Texas, but
We're gonna have to take a shot at Jimbo, bro. This was supposed to be a big season for Jimbo Fisher, and he lost 2 nasty games, one at App State, and then he lost this week to another team in the SEC, right before heading in the biggest game against Alabama after all that offseason talk with the recruits, and he was challenging Nick, and now you're going into Nick's home after beating Nick last season. Yeah, Alabama. If Alabama puts a whooping on Texas A&M, Jimbo Fisher should be in the hot seat. That's 3 losses.
Under pressure, throws.
got a Cowboys highlight to play here too. Do 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 do. Come on, hurry up.
Did you watch Raw?
Did I watch what?
Raw.
No. No. Hold on 1 second. I got to get a tweet out. Boom, baby. Judge had a lot of good pitches to hit tonight.
He ain't gonna get it, man.
I think he'll get it. If they pitch to him like this the whole series, I think he'll get it. Because they were challenging him all night. And it just looked like he was a step slow because he hasn't seen a lot of fastballs.
Whatever, man. You ain't gonna see fastballs in the postseason either.
I ain't
So
worried about
relief pitches
postseason. I want to see the guy. I want to see the guy get 62. It's gonna suck if he gets stuck at 61.
The fact that he couldn't hit a home run in 6 opportunities at Yankee Stadium is horrible.
Well, I mean, they were pitching around. They were pitching around him a lot.
No, he should have hit 61 in New York. He got in Toronto. He should have hit 62 in New York. I don't want to hear about pitching around him.
They are, man. The guy's just not getting many pitches to hit.
Right.
Dude, I watch every at bat. He's not getting.
You're gonna get one pitch. Barry Bonds got one pitch and he did it.
That's great. Barry Bonds is one of the greatest players of all time. Nobody's saying Aaron Judge is.
Well, he's
having one of the greatest seasons, but you can't compare him and Bonds.
The last 5 years, he's been one of the best players in baseball. It's a great time in New York right now, man. Most New York football teams are 500 or better.
Sit tight. Hold on. Come back. Final hour of a Monday night / Tuesday edition of the Cash In. Sports Map Radio, the Sports Map Radio app. I can now announce it. Hello, Dallas. Get your freak on. That's right. Monday through Friday, 10 p.m. to midnight Central Time, you can now catch the Cash In with me, Jason Page. Courtesy of Sports Map Radio. So glad to be with all of you and great to be on in the Big D for absolute sure. You guys can be a part of the show. As always, 1-800-224-2004, 1-800-224-2004. Congrats to the folks at iHeartRadio for their format flip to The Freak. 97.1 The Freak is your new home to hear the Cash in Dallas. 97.1 The Freak. I love it. I was actually listening to it today before I actually came on the air, which actually the station has a huge history. It was a sports talk station, The Ticket, many years ago, and it's a legendary station in the market, and we're proud to be a part of it and hang out with you guys weeknights 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern. We do a 3-hour show Monday through Friday, but you'll get the last 2 hours of it from 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern. The home of the Dallas Mavericks, too, in Dallas. 97.1 The Freak.
Nice.
So, yeah. So we'll come on after Mavericks games. It's cool.
After Luka Magic, baby.
That's our executive producer, Vladimir Lewisant, who works on the show and occasionally chimes in. And, yeah, I mean, it's so cool to – I mean, look, you're not going to find many fans bigger fans of Luka than me. I mean, I could watch that guy play all day. But we got some Dallas Cowboys stuff to talk about coming up here in a couple of minutes. The question is, how do you not stay with Cooper Rush? I know it's something you're all talking about, and we will address it as we continue with the Sports Map edition of the Cash In. Glad to be on with you in Dallas on 97.1 The Freak and all over the country on Sports Map Radio. Stay with us.
Oh, we got some good drama in baseball right now.
Why? What's going on?
Detroit up 4-2. Seattle. Tigers up 4-2 against Seattle. First and second. And I guess Julio. Is that Julio Rodriguez?
Is he back?
Yeah, he's back. Number 44, right? Yeah. 262, 27 home runs, 73 ribbies.
Well, Seattle wants a home playoff game bad. I know that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
what happened tonight? I wanted to see
Toronto beat Baltimore. Cleveland winning the division automatically is hosting.
Yeah, I know that. I wanted to see
Oh, did he hit a base hit? He hit a base hit in the gap. 1 run will score. No, can 2 runs score?
Oh, Milwaukee
2 runs
won.
scored.
Did Philly
Oh,
win?
no.
Did Philly
I think
clinch?
Philly came back.
Philly beat Houston. So do they clinch? Philly wins 3-0. I think they clinched with that. Pretty sure.
Yeah, Philly clinch.
Right?
Yeah, Philly clinch a playoff spot.
So that's it. All the teams that are going to be in the playoffs are set.
Because Milwaukee can only tie with them, right? Oh, I think they got the season record over Milwaukee.
Let me see. Let me see. Let me
Even though
clear
it says
my throat.
Milwaukee's 2 games back, but what does that mean?
So if Milwaukee is... No, Philly clinched. It says they clinched. Yeah.
Right, but there's still 2 games left.
That means they have to have the season series.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's on the MLB website. It's already set. They've clinched. Only question is who gets home field in that San Diego Philly series. Not San Diego Philly.
No, nobody's gonna get home field.
No.
San Diego is who's gonna get home field between the Mets or the Braves.
Right.
Yeah, St. Louis, Philadelphia's going to St. Louis, and San Diego's gonna get the Mets or the Braves. That's nasty.
Yeah.
They gotta fly all the way east to go against a team. There's too much red. You're gonna be in that. There's gonna be too much red in that Philadelphia and St. Louis series. They're gonna confuse the shit out of me. They literally have the same type of cardinal red.
And Washington is about to clinch worst record, 55-104. Oakland's 57-102. Coming back. Producer engineer John Belmer on point. Welcoming our friends at the Freak 97.1 to the Cash In family. Monday through Friday, 10 p.m. to midnight Central, you'll get us on 97.1 The Freak. Love it. Glad to be hanging out with you guys tonight. I even saved my Cowboys-related material for this because I knew I couldn't announce it, but I knew we would be on starting tonight for the final hour and every night hereafter, 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern. But I intentionally held my Cowboys material for you guys, and I figured I'd curry some favor by doing this.
Under pressure, throws deep, skinny post, walk in, CeeDee Lamb. He got clear and he walked the dog. 30 and a touchdown.
Hey, Lamb caught the ball. That is news unto its. See, now I've already done it. I've already gone and done it. Cowboys radio network on the call. Cowboys beat the Commanders 25-10. They're unbeaten with Cooper Rush at quarterback, which is just Jerry Jones, man. Be careful what you wish for. He said, I wanted a quarterback controversy, and now he got himself one. He wanted it. He got it. Here's the reality, though. I mean, let's. You don't got to be from Dallas to figure this out. You can watch this from afar and talk about it all day. I don't know if you're the Cowboys how you aren't considering keeping Cooper Rush over Dak Prescott as your starting quarterback. But I'm going to give you the argument for why Dak is the starter when he comes back, whether it's 1 week, whether it's 2 weeks, I don't care. And I don't care if Cooper Rush wins every game until. And I'm normally the guy that would be in favor of, keeping the hot hand in, so to speak. And look, if you're Mike McCarthy, you got to win games. Otherwise, Sean Payton may very well be the head coach in Dallas next year anyway. So I'm sure it has to run through his mind. But the reality is this. It is, and this has been a time-honored sort of mentality when it comes to these situations. You can come back to Cooper Rush if Dak struggles. And I mean, Cooper Rush didn't expect to be in this position. He got this opportunity. He's made the most of it. The team can come back to Cooper Rush with confidence if either A, Dak struggles, or B, the hand winds up becoming more of an issue. He gets hurt again, whatever. It's not like Dak Prescott isn't injury prone. Whereas if you decide you're going to stick with Cooper Rush, you risk losing Dak from the mental standpoint if you tell him he's no longer the starter. And it's much messier if Cooper Rush struggles to go back to Dak Prescott in that sort of situation. But there's no arguing with what you're getting out of Cooper Rush right now. He's been efficient. Is he setting the world on fire? No. But he's 55 of 89 passing for 673 yards over 3 starts he's made this season. 63% of his passes he's completing. And here's the biggest thing. He's not turning the football over. And when you have a defense that is as highly regarded as this Cowboys defense, that's good enough to win. I don't need you to set the world on fire and score 41 like the Chiefs or 35 like Josh Allen in Buffalo does every week. The object of the game is to score more points than your opponent. If that's 17-10 or 21-17, guess what? Their wins all the same. And when you get to the playoffs, yeah, scoring's going to matter, but there are very few teams in this league that can defend as well as Dallas is right now and what we've seen through the 49ers through the first 4 weeks of the season. And both of them have particularly sticky quarterback situations right now for completely different reasons. But both of those teams with those defenses, if they can just do enough offensively, they're going to be dangerous come the playoffs. What do you do in Dallas? 1-800-224-2004 is the phone number if you want to weigh in on the Dak Prescott stuff. I intentionally did this for our fans listening on 97.1 The Freak in Dallas. Also, there's Cowboy fans all over the country listening to us on SportsMap Radio. The SportsMap Radio app is where you can listen to the whole show. So if you want to listen to all 3 hours of us, download the SportsMap Radio app. You can also watch the show on my Twitter feed at the back page, on YouTube, our Decibel 88 channel, Facebook Decibel 88 channel, on Twitch, Jason Page 77. There's just a zillion ways to interact with this show and be a part of it. And I'll tell our Dallas audience, because it's your first night listening, here's the motivation to follow me on Twitter. We give cool stuff away every Wednesday on the show. You follow me on Twitter, you're entered to win. Simple as that. You follow me on Twitter, send me a little note, just say hello, you're entered to win. Simple as that. 1-800-224-2004 is the phone number. What do you do with Dak at this point? I think when he comes back, he's the starter. Our executive producer is Vladimir Lewis. I think he agrees with starting Dak too, don't you?
Absolutely. You better start him. You didn't pay that man $35 million not to start him.
And here's the other argument that I would make for going back to Prescott when he's ready. It's not as if when this injury happened, even though he didn't play well in the game against Tampa Bay, the whole Dallas team didn't play well as a whole. They were also missing Michael Gallup. I mean, we can go on and on. But even with that said, it wasn't as if we were at a breaking point in the Dak Prescott situation where we were talking about pulling him in favor of Cooper Rush. This isn't something where we were on the precipice of the Cooper Rush era in Dallas. So to me, you can't pretend right now that this was, something that would have happened whether or not Dak Prescott got injured. Because I don't think it would have. I don't know if Dallas would be 3-1 right now if Dak Prescott had been the starter, but I know they weren't going to be 1-3 or 0-4.
I think it would be 3-1 with Dak Prescott as a starter.
Maybe. I mean, like I said, we don't know.
Same games that Cooper Rush is winning, the same games Dallas would have won, because it's really been their defense.
Defense has been outstanding.
Their defense has been outstanding, one of the top defenses in the league. Micah Parsons is, but at least in the first couple of weeks was probably defensive player of the year. Now you got now you got Trayvon Diggs playing well at at the cornerback position. So their defense is always going to keep them in the game, and they're realizing how to utilize that two-headed monster with Zeke and Pollard.
Telling you, both of these teams, I will say this again. I talked about this before Vlad came back on. He wasn't with us early in the show tonight. But I'll say it right now. Both of these teams, Dallas and the 49ers, are dangerous. And it's mostly because of what they can do defensively that other teams can't. I mean, the San Francisco 49ers have given up 46 points through 4 games. I mean, that's just insane. It's less than 12 points a game on average. And Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't have to set the world on fire for them to win. The same way, if the Dallas defense continues to play this way, Dak Prescott doesn't have to come back and they score 30 points a game. They can win by scoring 21 points a game if their defense is this good.
But there's a problem, though, Jason.
Yes.
When the defense is that good and they're playing against another defense and they're not producing offensively. Because as good as Jimmy G played against the defending Super Bowl champs, they have the Rams number. This is 7 in a row in the regular season. Yeah, I know. And they could have won the NFC Championship game.
Thing is, there's not a ton of great defenses, though. I mean, there's not a ton of great defenses.
But last week they went against Denver. Jimmy G didn't look that great.
No.
Okay. And Dak against Tampa wasn't looking that good. So when it
they lost to Denver. San Francisco lost to Denver last week.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Jimmy G didn't look great against Denver.
Right.
And the defense played great. The defense only gave up 11 points. Yep. And 2 of them was on Jimmy G's fault. So the defense really only gave up
gave
9.
up 9. I get it.
Exactly. So there are going to be times when that quarterback has to make plays and get that offense into the end zone.
Yeah, I get it. They're going to have to be able to. But both Dallas and San Francisco still have playmakers. They've still got guys. Debo, George Kittle finally got a catch tonight. Dallas and San Francisco still have playmakers. Just have to be able to make enough plays. Again, you only got to score 35 to win. They say it in golf all the time. There ain't no pictures on scorecards. Just figure out how to make enough plays offensively to win. And don't make mistakes. And that is the one thing about Cooper Rush that makes him very appealing through these first 3 games. He does not make a lot of mistakes. But it's way easier to go back to Cooper Rush if Dak Prescott comes back and either A, stinks it up, or B, winds up back on the shelf for some reason. It is not as easy to do it the other way around. 1-800-224-2004, 1-800-224-2004. You can hit me up on Twitter as well, at The Back Page. Again, on Twitter, at The Back Page. Hello to our new friends listening in Dallas on our new affiliate there, 97.1 The Freak. I've got more to talk about. Of course I do. I've got more to talk about on the NFL. A weird, wild, crazy result in the NBA preseason that people are overreacting to way too much, and the other football that's played around the world. I got some thoughts on that too. We'll tell you how we did in Page's picks this week as well. Lots more to do on the Cash In. I'm Jason Page. Thanks for being with us on Sports Map Radio. My boys do tonight. Okay, that's not bad.
Brian Hawk is funny.
What'd you say?
Brian Hawk.
Yeah, why?
I believe two things are true simultaneously.
Oh, I liked his tweet. I know exactly what it is.
Removing Severino was the right decision.
Yeah, I haven't even talked about that tonight. I was so mad watching it because he was good enough tonight to throw a no-hitter. He was flat out unhittable. They couldn't touch him. He was so good. And when he went into the dugout, Boone, pulled him aside, and all Severino couldn't look him in the eye. He just kept shaking his head saying, no, 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 no. And finally, Boone was like, no, dude, this is it. You're done. And he eventually chilled out, but you could tell he was not happy. He was so good tonight. Listen, you can make the argument right now that Garrett Cole's their third best starter. And that's not hyperbolic. I mean, it's just truth. Coming back. One 1-800-224-2004. 1-800-224-2004. You can tweet at the show at the back page. Hello to our new listeners listening on 97.1 The Eagle. Used to be The Eagle. Ha! I caught it. It's The Freak. 97.1 The Freak in Dallas, Texas. A station with a long tradition. Haven't been in radio for, too long. It's a station I know a lot about and its previous incarnations, and we're proud to be a part of it now with you guys. 10 p.m. to midnight Central, Monday through Friday on 97.1 The Freak in Dallas. So, very cool. But very, very cool, and and somebody corrected me, by the way. Thank you to Sean for correcting me. 97.1 wasn't the ticket, but the ticket was one of the big landmark sports radio stations, not just in Dallas, but in the country at the time when it was out. So, very cool, and glad again to be part of the Dallas radio scene, Monday through Friday, 10 p.m. to midnight Central. So, thank you again to those of you that are tuning in for our first night in Dallas, of course. We're with you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern on SportsMap Radio, the SportsMap Radio app. As a matter of fact, The Freak is a new format down there. We're a show that launched September 5th, I believe, from coast to coast. And, you can go Google me if you want to know my background. I've been doing this for way too long. Again, on Twitter at the back page, feel free to hit me up there if you've got anything you want to weigh in on throughout the show. We were talking about Cooper Rush. Look, I think it's, when Dak Prescott is ready to play, I think you play him, and Cooper Rush will be there ready, as he's already proven to be. Should Dak either not perform to expectations if the team suddenly goes on a slide, or if he gets hurt again. So to me, not a difficult decision if you're the Dallas Cowboys to go back to Dak, even if it might be tempting to do something otherwise. All right, all of that having been said, we're pumped for the start of NBA season. I know you guys in Dallas got a great team, obviously, with the Mavericks and Luka Doncic, and my God, we can watch him all day, and I'm sure we'll talk about him plenty throughout the season. I know a lot of people, and it was a big headline last night, that the Suns lost, and we're on in Phoenix, lost to the Adelaide 36ers. By the way, can I tell you the best part about them losing to Adelaide? Here's the best part about them losing. That team from the Australian Basketball League, or whatever it's called, that team is actually the 7th best team in Dallas, in Australia, rather. So it's not like they lost to the league champions who were on some barnstorming tour of the United States. They lost to the 7th best team in Australian professional basketball. It's like the equivalent of, I can't even think of something that it's the equivalent of now that I'm sitting here thinking about it. It's that kind of bad. But I'm going to tell you why it doesn't really matter. First of all, the Suns only played their starters for 22 minutes. And yes, they were trailing at the half by, I think, 11 or 12 points with those starters. But at the end of the day, if they play their starters the whole game, if they play their typical rotation of players instead of, the 14 guys that got minutes in this game, they're going to beat the Adelaide 36ers. Should it have even been close? No. Does it mean anything? No. It's great for Adelaide. I'm sure they're all back home in Australia petting a koala bear and celebrating. But it's the equivalent of the tiny NCAA Division I school that goes and plays against a major conference powerhouse. And every year we see one of these goofy upsets where some Division I school loses to a mid-major or something even smaller than that. The NEC will get a win against the ACC or something goofy. The major conference program has everything to lose and nothing to gain. If you're Adelaide last night, you can come out and just shoot up a bunch of threes. And you go, you make all but 10 of them. I think they were like 23 of 34 from three-point range. Well, yeah, you're going to have a chance to win when you shoot it like that. It was a 1 in a million outcome. Does it mean anything? No. Doesn't mean the Suns are going to be bad. It doesn't mean anything. Matter of fact, Adelaide, I think, plays against the Oklahoma City Thunder next. By the way, hello to our Oklahoma City audience. And who knows? Maybe they'll beat the Thunder because the Thunder aren't very good this year. Thunder are going to be abysmal. I just thought it was wild. The overreaction to an exhibition game where not everybody's even playing in the game. It's kind of nuts. Ben Simmons made his debut for the Nets tonight, by the way, since we're getting the NBA stuff out of the way. Ben Simmons made his debut, and he didn't even get hurt. He actually made it through the game. Nets are going to be fun to watch this year. It's a good basketball team. If they're healthy and on the same page and everybody's pulling in the same direction, that's a good team. Crazy story with Karl Anthony Towns was in the hospital, too. I saw that. But NBA right around the corner. You're already getting into the preseason game. I think it's only like 16 days until the start. Is the preseason in the NBA that short? That we're like 16 days from the start of the NBA season? Is that possible?
Yeah, it's only 4 or 5 games.
I didn't realize it was that. Yeah, I didn't realize it was that short. You think
they play like 13 games?
No, well, I thought it would have been 10 games maybe. Only playing 4 or 5 games.
These guys don't need 10. Man, please.
I just thought it was more than a few games. That's all I'm saying.
Nah, it's been 4 or 5 games. Yeah.
All right. It's fine. I just thought it was more than that. It's no worries. You gotta get mad at me. You gotta get all testy just because I thought there were more games. 1-800-224-2004, 800-224-2004. Again, you can hit us up on Twitter throughout the show. At the back page. If you've missed it, I feel bad that our audience in Dallas just tuned in because you missed a good show so far. We had Matt Verderam in the first hour of the show from Fansided talking about all things NFL. So we went through that. We went through all the improbable things that have gone on during this NFL season. I mean, I ran through the litany of items that have taken place just through the first 4 weeks of the season alone. The fact that the Giants, Eagles, and Cowboys combined have just 2 losses, raise your hand if you thought that was going to happen. Now put your hands down, you're a liar. There wasn't anybody who had that in the cards. And again, not all records are created equal, and we talked about that before. 3-1 for the New York Giants is not the same as 3-1 for the Dallas Cowboys. And there are, we talked about this with Matt Verderam before. You're at a point right now where outside of maybe 3 teams, and that'd probably be the Eagles, the Bills, and the Chiefs, who have kind of separated themselves from the rest of the pack. After that, There's a whole lot of teams that can make a lot of noise between now and the end of this season. And I think there's still one or two teams that have yet to play their best football that by the time we get to week 17 are going to be playing a lot better. And one of them's 3-1, and that's Green Bay. Matt Verderame said he still felt good about Tampa Bay, and I do not. And I don't care how many points they scored in that rout last night. And I don't care if it was 41-31 and you want to say the game was close. It was not close if you watched that game. Those two teams were not close. Kansas City is a lot better than Tampa Bay is. And in a lot of cases, that Kansas City defense was just playing to the score. Kansas City's defense is better than the 31 they gave up last night. I think Tampa Bay's in for it. I really do. I think they're going to struggle. I really do. And not necessarily because of Brady. I just think it's the collection of talent. All right, stick around. More to do on this Monday edition of the Cash In. Good to be with you on Sports Map Radio. Yeah, they're the Cash In from Sports Map Radio and the Sports Map Radio app. You can catch us on either some of our affiliates around the country as well as the Sports Map Radio app, including our new affiliate, saying hello tonight to our new friends in Dallas, 97.1 The Freak. By the way, thank you to everybody who has tweeted at me because I got some of the station history off a little bit, and I apologize. I misunderstood some of what I was reading today as I was going through the history of the Eagle, which is now the Freak, and the Ticket, which was one of the legendary sports stations in that town. Funny thing is, I've only been to Dallas. You ever been to Dallas, Vlad?
Many times.
Really? See, I've only been there one. Can I tell you a funny story? Only time in my life I ever got to go around Dallas was Fort Worth, which is obviously right next to Dallas. And I was, I'm going to get killed for this. I know it. I was a manager for a Radio Shack in Connecticut. No joke. Dude, you know how young I was? It was like in between radio jobs, and I was trying out retail. And I was, 99, 2001. Gosh, I must have been, so it would have been 2001. I would have been 24. And I was one of the top performing managers for Radio Shack. Well, their headquarters was Fort Worth, Texas. So they sent me to Fort Worth with like all the best of the best managers. And I got to meet, what was the guy's name? Who was the CEO at the time? I can't remember. But I got to go meet him and go to a bunch of dinners and all this stuff. It's the only time in my life. I've flown through Dallas a million times. And living in Palm Springs, California, I always have to fly through Dallas when I fly back east. So I've flown through, but I've never done like a proper trip to Dallas. And now I'm starting to think we may have to make a trip to Dallas.
Yeah, I've been to Dallas. Dallas is a great city. Great city. Arlington is great out there.
I'm gonna have to talk to our boy Craig Larson, who runs Sports Map Radio, and see if we can go do like a week of shows in Dallas. I don't know about you, but because you got your own travel plans going on.
Yeah, you already think about yourself. Look at that. Okay, you do that.
You've been to Dallas. I haven't.
Yeah, you'll have a guest. You do a week in Dallas. You just won't have guests.
Come on.
Where are we going? Come on. Why are you telling me come on?
You live in Miami, dude. It's not like you don't live in one of the coolest places in the country.
And
you've been to Dallas. There's no reason for you to go to Dallas. You've already been there.
And there's no reason for you to get guests.
Come on. Don't be that guy.
I am that guy.
See what I deal with, folks? This is what I got to deal with.
Hey, man. You can enjoy Dallas. Yeah, I'll be working. I'll be earning. Remember that.
Well, one of us has to. 1-800-224-2004 is the phone number from anywhere in America if you want to talk to us. 800-224-2004. And I know tonight we're only on for this final hour of the show in Dallas. But again, the reminder, Monday through Friday, you can hear us 10 p.m. to midnight Central on 97.1 The Freak. So very cool.
I want to go to Jerry's Dome. That's the one. That's the one thing. That's a bucket list. I got to go to Jerry's house. I got to go to Jerry Dome.
Do you got people in Dallas we can crash with?
Why we got to crash somewhere? Make some money, bro.
Dude, you know.
Jeez.
All right. So Paige's Picks. Every Friday on the show, we do a segment called Paige's Picks on Friday. And this week I went 2-2. I was 7-6 coming into the week.
Oh my God! 9-8.
Yeah, 2-2. So I'm 9-8 on my NFL picks. I also threw in one college pick, which I got wrong.
So you're 9-9.
Well, for the NFL though, for the NFL, I'm 9-8.
Football, you're 9-9.
Yeah, I won't pick another college game this year. Hear me when I say this. Listen. Some people fake it. Like they know everything about everything. I am not a faker. I will not come on this show and talk about something as if I know everything about it if I don't. I'll get a guest and have them talk about it because they do know everything about it. But whenever I try to think that I know something about college football, I screw it up horribly. Do I follow it enough as a sports radio host? Absolutely. And I know this is going to devastate some of our fans in the Deep South who live, breathe, eat, sleep outside the stadiums of their favorite college football team. Here's the problem. I grew up in New Haven, Connecticut. So guess what I had for college football growing up? Absolutely nothing. No, because until Dan Orlovsky in the mid-2000s and UConn winning at the Motor City Bowl, UConn didn't have a Division I football program. They were FCS. So Randy Edsall came in, built the program. They did really great. That was all wonderful. And now they're just the trash heap of college football. Sorry, Fresno State. You lost to UConn this weekend. You should fold up your program. But, I mean, UConn's the dregs of college football. So I'm done. You know, I'm not a college football. I'm not a college football guy. What could I say?
Even with that, Dallas, we're still going to have somebody talk about the Red River rivalry this weekend.
We are?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
It's Oklahoma versus Texas.
All right.
This week.
Can we get Jim Ross? It's a slobber knocker.
See, if we get Jim Ross, he's going to have to talk about other stuff.
We did that once before, by the way. We had JR on once before back in our NBC days.
I know,
right.
but
Fair enough.
we had hookups back then.
Let's say hello. Let's say hello to our friends in Dallas who want to say hi. Mike in Dallas, you're on with Jason Page on the Cash In Sports Map Radio. What's going on, my man? Loving life, man. Loving life, and thrilled to be on in Dallas. And I got to get down there. I really do. I'm gonna make the effort and get out there. You got a casita? You got. You got a casita? You got a casita you can put me up in or something? All right. We'll come out there. We'll come out. We'll set. Here's what I'm going to tell you, Mike. Mike, we're gonna set it up. We're gonna set it up. We will come out to Dallas and do a week of shows. I will get on this tomorrow. I will I'll talk to our programming guy, Craig Larson, and we will set it up with the folks in Dallas. We will come out there and do the show from Dallas for a week. I just got to figure out which week. Yep. All right. I love it. Thanks, man. Appreciate it, Mike in Dallas. That's awesome. I'm down for that. We're going. All right, Vlad. I'm going to set it up. I got to see how we're going to swing it, but we'll go to Dallas, and yes, you can come because God knows I won't have any guests for the week if I don't bring Vlad. It's fine.
Yo, fam, you act like I'm not your protector.
Mike, and by the way, Mike in Dallas, you couldn't hear because we got a technical thing, but Mike in Dallas said he's got a place we can crash. He say hook us up.
That's cool, Mike. I appreciate that, but I can get a hotel room for myself. Thank you. I don't know. Paige is always. I am the absolute biggest couch crasher on the planet. Yeah, I couch surf. Let me tell you something. I couch surf for 3 years in between radio gigs. And I am all about that couch crashing life, man. You're all about freeloading.
No, I'm not about. Come on, I'm all about freeloading. How do you think you're getting to Dallas?
I'm not freeloading.
Somebody's going to be paying for it. It ain't going to be you.
You're Decibel 88, baby.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Something like that. 1-800-224-2004. Again, cool to be on with our peeps in Dallas. I will set it up. I will talk to Craig. I'll talk to Craig first thing tomorrow, and we will start setting it up. I think it's cool for the launch of a new affiliate.
Make it a week where there's a Cowboy game.
Oh, see, this is the problem. You get all picky, and you're like, I want this, and I want it like this, and I want it like that.
Well, first of all, quiet.
That's what you said.
I'm trying to help you out. You would definitely want to go in a week when there's a Dallas Cowboy game, so you could talk about the experience that is Jerry Dome, Jerry's World, and you would want to go when the Mavericks are playing a game to check out to see Luka.
Yeah,
Have you seen Luka?
That's asking a lot, though.
Have you seen Luka?
No, I want to, but I mean, that's asking
It's
a lot.
not really asking a lot. It's about actually just looking at the schedule.
I'm going to see. Oh, listen, I'm going to see Phoenix the first weekend in November. Going to see my first Suns game. Down for that.
Wow, look at that.
Well, I got to go for a bowling tournament. So I'm already going to be there.
This guy.
Just saying. Let me go Thunderman in Oklahoma City with Jason Page on the cash in. What's going on, Thunderman? Hopefully, let me just say this before you make your point. Tip your delivery drivers well. These guys are out there and these women are out there doing yeoman's work, delivering your stuff that you're too lazy to go out and get. Tip your delivery drivers well. There's no excuse for not doing so. All right. Good stuff. Absolutely. Appreciate the call, Thunderman in Oklahoma City. Look, I'm not about the asterisk thing. I'm not about, it's like when we try to take away, and I've talked about this before with Vlad, and I've had guests on and talked about it. People try to say, well, we're vacating. The NCAA used to do this all the time. Well, we're vacating the title won by so-and-so or the second place runner-up finish in the NCAA tournament. There's nothing that can take away what you saw. It's like Reggie Bush. I was laughing the other day watching a Wendy's commercial with Reggie Bush getting the pretzel bun burger or whatever, and they're like, they took something from Reggie and we're giving it back. And the big joke of it was they were giving him a bacon cheeseburger. And it's like that. Reggie Bush won the Heisman. Don't matter what you do with it. Reggie Bush won a Heisman. Nothing can change that. And look, there is a hypocrisy in sports on these things. Barry Bonds is the home run record. I don't think it's particularly fair. I look at what Judge is doing, clean, as opposed to what Bonds did granted an era of juicing, but I get it. I can understand where some people think there's a hypocrisy. I'm up against the break. I got to come back. We'll finish up this episode of The Cash In on Sports Map Radio next.
I got the perfect.
getting set to put the reps on a Monday night show. Once again, hello to our new listeners on 97.1 The Freak in Dallas. Start of something beautiful with them. How did I do on Paige's picks this weekend? I said I went 2-2. I didn't tell you how I did that. I had the under in the Vikings-Saints game, under 41.5. That obviously didn't go according to plan. Giants and Bears might have been the easiest pick of the week. Took the under. It went under. Hey, Dallas, I took your Cowboys at home -3 against the Commanders. Yep. And I thought I was sitting pretty with the Steelers and Jets under 41.5, and that didn't go according to plan either.
No, sorry, Bob. Not with Zach back, baby.
I just loved him. I just loved him getting the touchdown catch and then doing the gritty. That was awesome. That was really cool.
Doing it for all the moms out there.
Yep, he was. Doesn't have to live that strict Mormon life anymore in Utah, and he's just letting his hair down.
My season, baby. My quarterback's back. That's how Cowboys fans are gonna feel when Dak comes back.
Just don't get too excited because it's the Jets.
Calm down, man.
I'm just saying.
Listen, this game against the Dolphins on Sunday should be a pick 'em.
All right.
And we should be able to beat Teddy Two Gloves.
All right, that's going to do it for us. We're back with you on Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern. Shout out to our peeps in Dallas. I'm Jason Page. That's executive producer Vlad. We'll catch you back here tomorrow on the Cash In on Sports Map Radio. Bye.
I'm sick of your bye.
Yeah, can you for the podcast, because I didn't tell you, I want to do segment 1, hour 1. Segment 1, hour 1. I want to do the Verderam interview and the first segment where we talked about the Cowboys in hour 3. How's that? Okay. No, that's fine. No. If you thought there was stuff that was good, I'll trust you. Cool. Okay. No worries. No, dude. I trust you. You're in the circle of trust. You're all right. All right. I'll see you later. Thanks. Bye. All right. So kill that. Oh, that's awesome. That not for nothing. That, by the way, let me say bye to the stream because if I don't say bye now, I'll forget and start walking around the house naked. I'll see you guys on the stream later.